Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? How are you today? Can you hear me? Great. Hi, Naomi. How are you?
Hi, teacher. Good, thanks.
Good here too. Glad to see you. Where is everybody else? Let's hope they sign in soon to Zoom. Teacher George, is everything ready?
Yes.
So I already started recording, okay? So this will be posted in the platform. Teacher George is gonna review a little bit of the vocabulary that we did last Thursday, and is also gonna show you some platform activities, right? As Zoom as possible. Good one, Teacher George. Okay, so it's all yours, Teacher George.
Okay. So, Naomi, do you remember last class activities we had, like the vocabularies we practiced? Maybe?
Yes, we were talking about food.
Yes, exactly. So please let me know whenever you can see my screen. I'm sharing it now. Oh, thank you. I see confirmations here. Let me just share it here. Full screen. Yeah, here. There it is. Perfect. So here I have some vocabularies that we're going to practice. So here we were talking about food, and here we have some utensils that we practice. Here as well, we were talking about some verbs related to cooking, and of course, some dishes, as well as spices and seasonings. Oh, Martin is joining as well. Yes. Perfect. And some herbs as well. Finally, we were talking about as well some vocabularies that we probably didn't know about or understand, like the controversial figs or the ground beef and etc. Now, as every Saturday, I also want to remind you about the platform activities. And this time I brought you a video with some games. So please let me know whenever you can see the video full screen. If it's possible with a reaction. Thank you, Naomi. Yeah. Okay. So this is about prefixes that we were talking about in Unit 7A, if I'm not mistaken. We are going to just have a really quick look at it, and we are going to listen and how do we put the correct prefix into the vocabularies, and also how it explains, okay? So, can you listen to the audio? I was just playing it just really short. Maybe, can I have some confirmation in there? Like, I'm checking the chat here. Let's see. No, Naomi says no. That's weird. Ah, it's too low. That's weird actually. Let me see, because I actually have it in the maximum volume, and I make sure. Okay, so at least here we have the reading part. You can read it as well. Here it's also showing everything what Mr. Adam is saying, okay? So let's continue with the video at least. Let me see. Yeah, here. It's full. Yeah, as you can see, the volume is full.
Teacher George, maybe if you send me the link and I can try and play a little bit of it. Do you have the link at hand?
Yeah, sure, I guess. Okay, I will continue with the next activity and then we are going to play the video, okay?
Okay.
While teacher Claudio checks the link. Okay, so can you actually see this is new screen in this case? Please let me know. Yeah, thank you. So this is from the unit 7A again, and you have to choose the correct verb for these sentences. Here we have two options, and let's see, Martin is going to be number one and Naomi number two. I'm going to give you like a little second for you to check the whole sentence and then we're going to answer them, okay? Just make sure. Martin, you're going to be number one and Naomi number two, okay? Let's see if you can. Okay, so I see in the chat that you have some answers. Okay, Martin says, don't have to. Let me see. So you don't have to come to the meeting, but it would help us all if you're there. What about number two, Naomi? What do you think about that one? Okay, I see confirmation in the chat. Can, let's see. I can't get a connection on my phone. Can I borrow yours? Okay, now that we have our answers, I would appreciate if Martin, can you actually read the number one, please? If your mic is working.
Hi. You don't have to come to the meeting, but it will help us all if you are here. Sorry.
Very good, thank you. Now, Naomi, can you read number two, please?
Yes, I can get a connection on my phone. Can I borrow yours?
Thank you. So these are some of the activities we have here, and let's check the answers real quick. Just two examples, of course, so we can check them. Okay, let's see really quick. Yes, so both of your answers were correct in this case. Yeah, perfect, very good. And finally, we have another activity here, as you to just complete them or check. And this time, Naomi is going to be number one and Martin is going to be number two, okay? So this has actually 4 options, so be careful. Number one says, a good sense of humor is important even in business. You, serious all the time. Can you see the screen? Yeah. Let me see the confirmations. Yeah, here I check in the chat. Okay, so Naomi says B. What about number 2, Martin? When you meet someone for the first time in Canada, you... Okay, so let's check letter B, number 1, letter B. Martin says D or C, I'm not sure. Okay, we're going to check, okay? So B, let's start number 1B. Congratulations is correct. Here says, don't have to be serious all the time, so it's not necessary, okay? A good sense of humor is important, even in business. You don't have to be serious all the time, so it's not really necessary. That's what it's saying. Number 2, here we have, when you meet someone for the first time in Canada, You should introduce yourself or have to introduce yourself. Let's check C first and then D. So C is the correct one because, well, when you are introducing someone, in this case, it's not mandatory, I guess, at least in some countries, but it's a matter of being polite to the other person. Like some countries, like in Japan, might consider it rude if you don't introduce yourself. So it's just, of course, optional, but because that's why here we have should. But as I said, it's kind of important to introduce you someone because when you don't know about different cultures, they might find it a kind of rude if you don't. Okay, so finally, let's check the video, okay? I'm going to stop sharing for a second and I'm going to pass the link in here to teacher Claudia. Let me see. Let's see. Perfect. Okay. So, we have Vania as well in here. Hello, Vania. Are you there? Oh, hello, Vania. Yes, she's answering in the chat. Okay. So, and I don't remember, Vania, were you last class with us in the meeting? I don't think so. Can you answer with your mic?
I wasn't here, teacher. I had connection problems.
Yeah. On Thursday was kind of cloudy and windy. Very good.
Yeah, it was raining here, so I had problems with the Wi-Fi.
Just make sure to check the.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, because there were very important vocabularies and content we had last class. Yeah. So now teacher Claudio is working with the video and we're going to just check it. Now.
Yes.
Let's see the video. He's going to share it to us.
So let me know if you can hear it, please. Let me test it first.
Ingrid.com. I'm Adam. Today's lesson is a bit of a speed lesson. I'm going to tell you something that you can't actually learn. Well, you can learn it. There's just no rules for it. I'm talking about specifically some prefixes. This, un, in, im, il, ir, non. Okay? First of all, let's review a little bit. What is a prefix? A prefix is a little part of a word that comes before the main word. It can come before an adjective, before an adverb, before a noun, before a verb. Anything that comes before a word, and especially before a root of a word. We're going to look at an example of that very soon. So I was asked specifically to talk about these prefixes. All of them basically mean not. Okay? They negate the word they are added to. Now, generally speaking, you can find specific little subtle differences between all of them. For example, this means more like be a part of or away from, separate. Un means not or a reversal of something or not having something, a lack of something, a deprivation. The same with these guys, not, reverse, opposite. Non is the most simple one. Non basically means not, okay? But the problem is that most of these can go with many words, but there's no real rule about which word takes which prefix, okay? So how do you learn which one to use in which situation? Well, I'll tell you after we look at a few examples, okay?
So this was basically talking about some prefixes and more specifically about negative ones, okay? Like on, non, as well. Yes, and basically what it's saying in there that when we're talking about prefixes, there's no explanation of which one you have to put in which word. So, but it's also encouraging us to practice with the prefixes. For example, unhappy, unhappy. That means that you're not happy, right? So these kind of prefixes as well. And now you know that unhappy or un goes with this specific adjective. Okay, so that's what it was talking about in this case. And now, finally, I just want to encourage you and to let you know or remind you that it's very important to complete the platform activities. And I'm pretty sure that the new quiz is available as well. So please make sure to check that out whenever you can, okay? As soon as possible, as we were talking in the chat, okay? So any questions that you might have maybe? Or if you can give me a thumbs up, that could be nice. Okay, yeah, confirmations, thank you. Okay, now you're going to be back with teacher Claudio, and thank you and see you next, okay? Bye.
Thank you, Teacher George. Okay, so that was very important review, and he shared with you how good that material is. Like that video we just saw is very good practice for a previous unit that we have finished. It's all in the platform, okay? So make sure that you check it out as extra practice. Great. So now we're back to unit 9B, where we're talking about cooking, right? And food preparation. So let me share my screen. Can you guys see this screen? It says listening. Great. This is actually page 89, okay? And it talks about a time when you had a cooking disaster, okay? And who hasn't had one of those, right? Including me. Half of all my cooking times end up in disasters, right? So you're gonna listen to, let's see how long it is. Let's listen to at least one speaker, and you have to prepare the answers to these 4 questions. Who were they cooking for? What ingredients do they mention? What went wrong? And what happened in the end? Okay, so take out a pen, a pencil, and a piece of paper. I'm gonna wait for you to get that, okay, if you don't have it next to you. Take a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds actually to get up, get a piece of paper so you can take some notes, okay? Good note taking, it's a very important learning tool. And I'm gonna start my playing. This is 517, okay. Can you guys?
5.17. There was this girl.
Can you hear that? Okay. Is everybody ready with a piece of paper and something to write with? Okay. So here we go.
5.17. There was this girl who I had liked for a few months. She had no idea, of course. I was having lunch with her and another friend when the friend kept talking about what a great cook I was. I think he was trying to help me out. So I invited the 2 of them to come over for dinner, and I decided that this was my big chance. I planned to cook my best dish, seafood pasta. I can usually make that in an hour, but that day I was so nervous, and she kept insisting that she watch me cook that my hands kept shaking. I could feel my face turning red, and I couldn't focus on the cooking. They were getting hungry, and I just kept chopping onions, cleaning the squid, and peeling the shrimp because I couldn't look up and face her. And I also wanted things to be perfect. I imagined them enjoying the food and relishing each bite. It took me 3 hours to cook. Eesh. And by the time it was all done, they ate it in 15 minutes. They didn't seem to notice how much effort I had put into it.
Have you had any awful, memorable disasters in the kitchen?
One particular one.
Okay. Now, would you like to listen to the first one again? Let's listen to that first part again. Yes. So let's listen to speaker 1 again.
5.17.
There was this girl who I had liked for a few months. She had no idea, of course. I was having lunch with her and another friend when the friend kept talking about what a great cook I was. I think he was trying to help me out. So I invited the two of them to come over for dinner, and I decided that this was my big chance. I planned to cook my best dish, seafood pasta. I can usually make that in an hour, but that day I was so nervous, and she kept insisting that she watch me cook that my hands kept shaking. I could feel my face turning red, and I couldn't focus on the cooking. They were getting hungry, and I just kept chopping onions, cleaning the squid, and peeling the shrimp because I couldn't look up and face her. And I also wanted things to be perfect. I imagined them enjoying the food and relishing each bite. It took me 3 hours to cook. Eesh. And by the time it was all done, they ate it in 15 minutes. They didn't seem to notice how much effort I had put into it.
Have you had any awful, memorable disasters in the kitchen?
One particular one when I was cooking for my mother-in-law for the first time. She was visiting from Italy, and so I wanted to make a classic Italian dish.
Sorry. Okay. So, who were they cooking for? You can unmute your mics so we can do it faster. And you can tell us.
For a friend.
Okay, yes.
Or a girl that he likes and a friend.
Yes, that's more information. Very good. What ingredients do they mention?
Onions and shrimp.
Good. Anything else? All right. Yeah, they don't mention that much. What went wrong?
They didn't realize the effort that he puts in preparing the meal, something like that.
Yeah. And then what else?
He took too much time making the food and they didn't appreciate it that much as he expected.
Exactly. Yes. He normally did it in 1 hour and it took him 3 hours to make. Good. And then what happened in the end?
They eat everything in 15 minutes.
Yes. And they didn't what? They didn't. Anybody remember that part? They ate it so fast that they didn't.
Appreciate.
Yes, that's it. They didn't appreciate all the hard work that he had put. Very good. Okay, so now I want to hear I'm sure that you have, or your friend or a family member has a cooking disaster story. Okay? What were they cooking for? Or what were you cooking for? What ingredients can you mention, right? What went wrong, and then what happened in the end, right? So we're gonna practice this, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna try something new, okay? I'm going to put you into 2 breakout rooms, so you're gonna be talking in pairs, all right? And Teacher George is gonna be in one of the rooms, and I'm gonna be in the other, just listening, right? And maybe helping you with some vocabulary, all right? So you're gonna need to unmute your mics, and you remember the questions, right? Who were you cooking for? What are some of the ingredients? What happened? What went wrong? And then what happened in the end? So let me make the breakout rooms right now. Let's see. Yes. So Joshua and Vanya, you're going to be with Teacher George. And Martin and Naomi, you're going to be with me in a room. Okay? So let's go. You need to accept to get into the room. Okay? Join. So who's gonna go first?
Okay, I can start. Once I was preparing a cake and I finished everything and then I put into the oven and then I start working and with my laptop and I completely forgot. So it burns all my cake.
Martin, ask her some questions about the story.
Sorry, I didn't hear. So,
Oh, are you having problems with the audio?
I think so.
Okay, all right. Well, she talked about a time when she prepared a cake and she completely forgot about it and it burned.
Oh, what was the cake for? Who was it for?
And it was just for my house, for my family.
Did it have any kind of decoration or what were the ingredients?
No, the ingredients and that I used were carrot, flour, sugar, and some eggs.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of ingredients. And could you eat it in the end or did you have to throw it out?
No, we eat it, but we just cut some parts of the cake.
Oh, okay, bravo. You saved it, yeah. How about you, Martin? Do you have a cooking disaster story?
Not like any story, but I have something that happens to me like almost every time. Um, how do you say merienda?
Naomi, do you know?
No, not really.
Snack. A snack.
It's not. I always prepare my sandwich. You can call it bread with cheese and yeah, bread with cheese. And I do that first. I put it in the toaster, and I almost every time I forgot it, and it burns
Oh yeah, that's terrible, yeah. And then all the cheese.
because yes, because I do that before I prepare the tea. So
Oh, okay. You have tea. Interesting.
yeah,
Nice. Yeah, what kind of tea do you have? Do you have black tea?
blood. Yeah, blood.
Cool. There are not many Paraguayans that drink tea. You're a
Yeah.
British Paraguayan. I like tea myself. I love tea. Okay, good job, guys. So we're gonna go back to the big room, okay?
Okay.
Is everybody back? Yes, everybody's back now. How was your group, Teacher George? Did everybody tell a story?
Yes, Vanya was talking about making some white sauce, I guess, yeah. And also Joshua was talking about that they were alone with his little brother at home because his parents weren't. And I think they had to make some pizza. Yeah, that's what he mentioned. Yeah, and it was like kind of interesting because like the situation he was writing were kind of weird, but it worked. I mean, it was like a disaster, but it happened. I was talking about my situation as well, and we all agreed that we don't normally go to the kitchen, but when we are alone, well, we must.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. And in my group, we all have basically the same problem. It's like we do something and then we forget. So Naomi was saying that she was baking a cake and then she totally forgot about it. And Martin is toasting some bread and cheese sandwich and then he totally forgets, so it gets burned. And it happens to me all the time. Okay, great. Let's focus on the grammar, okay? So I'm gonna share my screen with you now to see, see if I'm ready. Okay, 1 second. I have to go to the correct page. Yes, here we go. So let me know if you can see my screen. It should say 9B grammar.
Yes, we can.
Great, thank you. Let me enlarge it so you can read it. We're not going to do all of these, but it's a good way to review and also present. So here, what we want is you to follow your intuition. Okay, this would be the inductive way of discovering the grammar. That means you already know a lot. So follow your intuition. Do you think that these expressions are right or are they wrong? And if they're wrong, correct the mistakes. We're talking about the highlighted parts. Okay, for example, the back of the house, right? So there's a small yard at the back of the house. That's fine. We're talking about compound nouns and possessive forms, all right? So let's do number 2. We can use the chat now, okay, to respond. Either in the chat, what you can do is you can put, you can say 2 is correct if you want, like I just did, or say 2 is wrong, like I just did, and then correct it, okay? So what do you think of number 2? She's always sticking her nose into other people's business. Do you think that's correct or do you think that's wrong? And let's take advantage of this to review possessives. Okay, we have one answer from Naomi. Anybody else? Vanya also is giving us the same answer. What about the boys, Martin and Joshua? Okay, Martin is giving the same answer too. Yes, very good. So what they said is wrong and that it should be people apostrophe S. Why is this wrong? What's wrong with this? You can, to make it faster, you can unmute yourself and just speak out loud. What's wrong with this? S.
The apostrophe is in the wrong place.
Yes, exactly. But sometimes we do this. Why is it wrong to do this now?
Because the S is related to the possessive form, not to the word people.
Good. When do we use S and then an apostrophe? This way.
When
Yes.
you go.
Go ahead, don't worry. We can hear you. When do we use S and then apostrophe? You can unmute yourself.
When the word already has an S and it's just not the apostrophe is to like explain it's from that person.
Yes, but you're missing one small piece of information there. The word has to be what? Nobody? The word has to be, let me check in the chat if anybody said it. No?
Plural?
Yes, that's it. Plural. Exactly. The word has to be plural. And people is already plural, right? So you can make a plural more plural, right? The singular is person, right? And the plural is people. You don't need to put S. You don't say the peoples in this case, right? There are exceptions, of course. But for the word person and people, it's already in plural. So it's correct. Very good. You cannot use it this way. It has to be people apostrophe S. Good. How about number 3? So this is a good review for the exception of possessives, right? And it's not always true for a word that ends in X because, okay, Naomi says she can't see my screen. Okay, can everybody else?
Teacher,
Yes.
I will leave the meeting and try to enter again.
Okay.
Because I don't know what happened.
Okay, all right, but everybody else can see my screen, right?
Yes.
All right, okay, yeah, do that, Naomi, no problem.
Okay, okay.
So there are examples like Lucas, for example, right? The name Lucas already has an S, but that's not plural. So you don't put just like that, right? That would be incorrect, just an S and an apostrophe. In this case, you do say Lucas's, right? The only case you would put that is when the word is plural, like my parents. That's plural, right? My parents is plural because I have 2 parents. So my parents, and then room. This is my parents' room. It's plural, so you just put an apostrophe. Good. That is one confusing rule that we went over last class. Let's see, let's do number 4, okay? Number 4 is another example of the grammar. Is this correct or not? Does anyone have a cans opener? I want to open the pineapple juice. You can tell me in the chat if you think it's correct or incorrect, right? Number 4. Think about it. Does it sound right to you? Okay. Vanya says it's not correct, and she gives us her right answer. Yeah, Joshua, I skipped number 3 because it's kind of like the same thing, right? We're running out of time, but we can do it quickly too if you want. Yes. So Martin is also saying can opener, right? You don't need the S. So the correct answer is, does anyone have a can opener? It's a compound noun, right? We're going to be at Paul and James' house for dinner tonight. You can do that. Joshua, what do you think about number 3? Do you think it's correct or not? The one that I skipped. Paula and James house. This follows the same rule as number 2. So is this correct? Yeah, it's incorrect. Very good, Joshua, sorry. What's the correct answer, Joshua? Anybody? You can unmute yourself and just say it out loud. Okay, Martin has given us the right answer. Very good. Yes, Martin is right. James's, right? Why? Well, James is not a plural word. It's a name, and it happens to finish with S. Since it's not plural, then you can put an apostrophe and an S. Very good, Martin. Okay, all right. Let's stop this part. Okay, so the grammar for this unit is not that hard, okay? What you do have is a lot of vocabulary, okay? Next, let me share with you. Okay, this part right here. Let's do some more speaking. So this is a very common question. First, can you guys see my screen? Can you see the PowerPoint? Okay, great. My last supper. And it's kind of like a weird, dark thing to talk about, but if you don't want to think about maybe your last supper, it could be your most special supper. Let's say that you have the possibility to have a very, very special meal. It doesn't necessarily have to be your last, right? So what would your last meal be? Or what would that very special meal be? What would be the setting for the meal? That means where would it be, right? Would it be in your house? Would it be in a restaurant? Would it be, I don't know, in Paris, France, you know, by the beach in the south of France or whatever? Would there be music, right? What would be the atmosphere, the ambient? And then finally, who would your dining companions be and why? Okay. And on page 91, you have these very famous chefs give their answers. So of course, their answers are very, very long and detailed. They don't just say, oh, I want, I don't know, barbecue, and then that's it. That would be an unacceptable short answer for AS2. What I want is a long answer with a lot of description, okay? So I want to practice this. Let's go into breakout rooms again. First, can you guys maybe take a photo of these, pick a questions, or take a screenshot, or if you have your book right there, open it to page 91 so you remember the 4 questions, right? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Okay, great. So I'm gonna form different groups this time. Again, Teacher George and I will be in each of the rooms. Let's see. No, let me recreate that. Wait, that's the same room. Wait, let me manually create a room. Okay, so in room 1 is gonna be Joshua with Martin and Teacher George, okay? And in room 2 is going to be me with Naomi and Vanya. Okay, so please join, and you're going to be answering those 4 questions. Remember to make them as long as possible, okay? Okay. So, can everybody hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, Vanya, are you okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Questions?
What?
Do you remember the 4 questions? Do you have them there with you?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have it right here.
So first, Naomi, ask Vanya those 4 questions.
Okay. What would your last meal on earth be?
I'm having some connection problems. If I exit the room,
Okay.
maybe.
We can hear you perfectly well. Can you hear us well?
A little bit.
Okay, we can hear you, so just talk, okay?
Okay, I would start my last meal with maybe some garlic bread because I like it. Then probably like maybe Italian food with really crispy tomatoes and maybe a salad with a lasagna. But only cheese lasagna, not with the meat because I don't eat meat. Then to finish, I would probably eat some chocolate, like from, if I can choose, I would eat chocolate from Switzerland. Then I would like to be surrounded by the people I love, probably on the beach, like next to the ocean. And I would like some music playing, like slow music or maybe my favorite band. And that would be it.
Excellent. Very good response, Vanya. That was very descriptive. Do you have any questions for her, Naomi?
No, it is completely answer for all the questions.
Yes, it is. Excellent. How about you then, Naomi?
Okay, maybe I would have some barbecue or maybe some kind of fish. I would like to have something for dessert too, like some ice creams or another kind of desserts, but they have to be homemade. I would like to be in a place like the countryside, and I would like to listen to some music like jazz or something like that, maybe something instrumental. And I would like to share with my family and closest friends too.
Nice. Very good. What kind of fish do you like?
I usually eat surubi.
Nice. Do you like sushi? Have you ever eaten sushi?
Just once, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah, it tastes different, right? And especially
Yes.
it's raw, right? It's not cooked.
Yes.
Good answers, girls. Very good answers. Very descriptive. Remember, you can make it as descriptive as possible. And if this happens to be in the exam, right? If they have a paragraph with this topic, you want to be as descriptive as possible. Okay, very good. Great job. Let's go back to the main room, okay?
Okay.
Wow, talking about food is making me really hungry. I'm sure you guys are hungry too, sorry. It's never easy to talk about food when you are in the English class because we can't eat. All right. So let's see when Joshua, Martin, and Teacher George join us again. Are they back? Oops, I hadn't closed all the rooms. I'm still cachique with the technology. Is everybody back? Yes.
En este video hablaremos sobre los distintos quizzes que podemos encontrar dentro de la plataforma.
Okay. I need to share something with you that's going to be in Spanish that the coordinators have asked us to share. Okay? So before we finish the class, everybody's back, right? So let's watch this video, okay? It's going to be in Spanish. Let me know if you can hear it. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great.
En este video hablaremos sobre los distintos quizzes que podemos encontrar dentro de la plataforma.
Is this on YouTube or because I see your screen from the platform?
Oh, wait, thank you. I think I'm sharing the wrong. No, it is. It's supposed.
It is.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like that. Yeah. Can you?
Okay. Sorry.
Can you hear it loud?
It's great.
Okay. So let's go.
En este video hablaremos sobre los distintos quizzes que podemos encontrar dentro de la plataforma. En la plataforma del CCPA podemos encontrar básicamente dos tipos de quizzes. Por un lado están los quizzes de práctica o practice quizzes y por el otro lado están los quizzes evaluativos. ¿Cómo identificarlos dentro de la plataforma, dentro del curso en concreto? Es muy simple. Por ejemplo, un practice quiz podemos encontrarlo por lo general dentro de una unidad. Si yo me desplazo y me voy hasta la unidad 8, por ejemplo, de este curso en concreto, veo que se me abren los distintos contenidos, tengo acá los videos, los ejercicios de práctica, todo lo que debo completar como en cualquier otra unidad. Y si me voy hasta la parte final de la unidad, me encuentro con este título grande que dice Practice Quiz, prueba de práctica. Entonces, para poder tomar este Practice Quiz, yo debo hacer clic en esta parte. Tanto los Practice Quizzes como los quizzes evaluativos se identifican con este icono que es la de una hoja con un check verde. Entonces, para poder tomar este quiz, yo debo hacer clic sobre el quiz, me desplazo hasta abajo y voy a encontrar un botón de intentar el examen. Y ya va a comenzar el examen de práctica. Tenemos que tener en cuenta que el Practice Quiz no aporta de ninguna forma al libro de calificación, ya que es un quiz solamente para practicar. Pero el que sí aporta al libro de calificaciones es el quiz evaluativo. ¿Cómo identificamos los quizzes evaluativos dentro del curso? También es muy simple. Tenemos que retroceder, hacer clic atrás o directamente hacemos clic en nuestro curso para poder ver las distintas secciones nuevamente. Como podemos ver, tenemos aviso, clases virtuales, tenemos las distintas unidades y los quizzes evaluativos se muestran como una sección más dentro del curso. con un banner grande que indica quiz. En este caso, en este curso en particular tenemos el quiz 1, que es evaluativo, tenemos el quiz 2 y el quiz número 3. Entonces, para poder tomar un quiz, en este caso este quiz evaluativo, tenemos que hacer clic a quiz 1 en este caso, por ejemplo. Me dirijo hasta abajo y veo, en este caso tengo el quiz. Esto significa que no está disponible actualmente. ¿Por qué puede ser que no esté disponible el quiz? Primeramente tenemos que mirar la fecha en la cual se abre y en la cual se cierra. Esto generalmente se indica en esta parte, así como se indican también las actividades que faltan completar para que este quiz pueda ser resuelto. Es muy importante que tengamos todas las actividades de la unidad anterior a este quiz completas. Eso, ¿cómo verificamos? Básicamente, tenemos que tener, por ejemplo, si me voy a la unidad 8, tengo que tener todas las actividades chequeadas, sin excepción. Entonces, si yo tengo todas las actividades chequeadas, podré rendir el quiz 1 sin ningún tipo de problema. Entonces, ¿cómo rindo un quiz evaluativo? Básicamente, procedemos de la misma forma como la que procedimos con el Practice Quiz. Hacemos clic sobre el quiz, que tiene este icono, con la hoja y la marca de check en color verde. Hacemos clic ahí, tenemos una serie de instrucciones y podemos darle al botón comenzar el examen ya. Le hacemos clic al botón y el examen comenzará automáticamente. Es muy importante tener en cuenta que este quiz es evaluativo, tiene un puntaje y el alumno va a poder tener la posibilidad de repetir este quiz hasta que alcance por lo menos el 70% del puntaje total. Una vez que el alumno alcanza el 70% o mejor, el examen se cerrará automáticamente y ya no podrá ser reintentado.